Hello and welcome to the Big Head on Goswick Lane. We are glad to have you today. And Genty and I are doing a massive job here. We're really concentrating on one thing, and that is pretending that we are awake because we are not. It's summertime. Summer's hit. Kids stay up late. Schedules change. I think something changes in our mindset where it's like, I'm going to sleep in a little bit, because I don't have to wake up, take kids. For me, this is for me, for sure. Does that happen to you too?
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Because we don't have to take any of the kids to.
So it's like you get used to, for 9 months, waking up at 6 o'clock.
I know I don't get used to that. I'm still bad with that.
Okay. I finally got used to it in the past 2 years. And
you're what?
I'm 40.
45.
40. Don't be adding years to me, bro. How old are you?
37.
Okay. That'll probably hit you next year where it's just like your body just wakes up at 6 o'clock. You're like, why?
Yeah, probably.
Why? So today we're talking about why or why not become a realtor. Just off the cuff, we're going to try to dive into your brain a little bit today on what you do. We're going to focus more on the why. Like, we're going to try to get somebody out there that's watching this podcast that's thinking about doing this. We're going to try to give them all the information that we can in a short amount of time. This will be a 2-3 episode deal of the pros and cons or how to do it or why. Diving into maybe a little bit of the psychology of being a realtor.
Right.
So, and I don't know the answers to these questions. That's why you're sitting here today. You're interested in being a realtor. Genty, what's the first thing that pops in your head if I come up to you and I say, hey, man, I'm thinking about becoming a realtor? What do you tell me?
When people come up, because I get that all the time, the main thing that I think is how hard it was for me to start out. You basically, and I had another supplemented income. And most of the people that are thinking about doing this don't. I had a business that paid me a salary.
What were you doing? What was your business at that time?
Well, I had my commercial cleaning company, and it was established. And
how long had you been doing that?
3 or 4 years.
Okay. And that was your business. Are you and your brother in on that together?
That was just mine.
Just yours.
Me and my mother, really. My mother helped me from day one.
So is that something that you would say is important, is to have some kind of supplemental income? Is that wise?
It will help if you have freedom as well. That business was more of, we had 2 larger contracts, but it was from 6 o'clock at night until midnight, 1 o'clock.
Okay. Were you actually out cleaning from 6 to 1?
No, I wouldn't be out cleaning. We had crews that cleaned,
okay.
But if we had an issue or we had a complaint, then we would have to address it whenever the contractors were there.
Yeah.
But so that's the main thing is, if you're going to quit your job, you better have either, I would say 6, really at the minimum 6 months to a year saved up for your bills.
Do you think, is that how long it takes to get this ball rolling in the real estate industry?
If you would have asked me that a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would have told you no, because, it was the market was
crazy.
Hot.
Yes.
Now, yeah. I mean, we're back to the kind of like that 17, 18, 19 times you have to really work every transaction and market yourself, and just stay busy.
I think that's a good thing that we can dive into later is how you pay yourself as a realtor. But I think that comes after what, you've decided as if you want to become a realtor or not. So, have some kind of basis of income or secondary income or some savings. But what about when you're taking the class? Is that something that you can do? Because the training and classes and stuff are not like that. You can't just do it overnight, right? It's could be like a month to 6 month process depending on how far you stretch it out, right?
Yeah, and I know there are different programs out there and different things that you can do, depending on the state. But I did the online, and that's self-based. I believe, and don't quote me on this, I think you have a year with the program that I did. I had a year. If I didn't finish it during that year, then I would have to start over.
So best case, worst case, how quick can you finish it? And worst case, how long does it take?
That depends on the person, really.
Okay.
But if you're really good at it, I think I've heard of people doing it in a month.
Okay. Is that something that you could do while you have another job?
Mm-hmm.
Could you do it in a month having another job? What's realistic? I got a 8 to 5 that hypothetically I've got an 8 to 5 that I go to every day. I've got kids, married, responsibilities. How long is it going to take me? If I say, I'm going to be dedicated to this, but not to the detriment of my current job and taking care of my family. Maybe I can put in an hour a day, 2 hours a day.
It's 180 hours that you have to take, I believe.
Okay.
So
we can do the math there.
You do the math. I still think it's going to take a person like that because I had, a full-time job essentially, because during the day we would chase complaints, move supplies, stuff like that. And then a newborn.
Oh, yes.
But I did it, when he was asleep or, at night. It took me 6 months.
Okay, that's an hour a day.
6 to 7 months, something like that.
Hour a day. If you did an hour a day.
I don't think an hour a day is going to get it.
180 hours at 6 months. That's 180. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you got to still prep and take the tests and stuff too, right? That 180 hours does not include the actual test, correct? Okay. So if you got a family, you got a job, plan on 6 months. If you can sketch out, like if your kids aren't involved, so if you don't have kids, then I think you can do it faster. But, I would say, make sure you keep your priorities straight while you're doing that. But also, like, it's hard to stay excited about something for 6 months. I'm going to do this and it's going to take me 6 months. You better be disciplined and committed and make your mind up that this is something you want to do. So what are some things that we can talk about to help our viewers know if this is really something they want to do?
Well, you need to know that you like to deal with people.
Okay, this is good.
That's a big thing, because you're dealing with people every day. There's going to be multiple people. There are going to be happy people. There are going to be sad people. There are going to be mad people. There are going to be, all walks of life, and you have to be someone who's able to get along with people, enjoy people, and try to be positive.
So what's some other things that they can be planning for as they're taking their courses and getting ready for this? Like, that's just teaching you like T-Rex stuff, right? Did I say that right? Trek? You say Trek or T-Rex or T-Rex or
Trek?
Trek. The classes and stuff are just basically teaching you regulations, like not how to be a realtor, right?
Well, they're teaching you that stuff too.
They are? Okay.
Ethics and all those things. But for me, not for everyone, but for me, I felt like it was just cramming so much into my brain at one time that it was hard to retain it. Of course, I retained it because I passed the test, but I feel like, that was almost just a real quick time and window, and you're doing it so fast that you retain a lot of it, but some of it you're kind of like, what did I just read?
Yes. Yeah, and it's hard too. I mean, it's like you're going back to that. Typically, if you're starting something at 30 years old, I'm gonna say you started around 31, 32, correct?
Yes.
And you've been out of school for a while. Like these are not things that you're in the discipline of doing anymore. If you're starting this in college or right after college, you're going to still have those studying disciplines and those things. And you ought to be able to do it quicker than 6 months if you don't have all the other responsibilities of life. That's another thing that I'll say is that if it's something you're really interested in and you've done your research and you say, hey, I want to do this, and you're 18, 19 to 25 years old, what's the risk? What's the risk? What could you lose if you go into this and you do it and you take the classes and you pass the test and then you decide a year later you don't want to do it? What's the risk?
I mean, there's no risk. I mean, it would be smarter for somebody to do it when they were younger, don't have kids, don't have responsibility. They can keep their license and keep it up to date if they felt like, oh, this is not the time for me. You know, this is not what I want to do. I want to go back to school or, you know, try a different career path. You can still keep up your hours, you know, being active. And then if you decide to go back active, you can do that. But you have to keep up with all your CE.
Okay. Well, how much does it cost to
I honestly don't know.
Is it like $1,000? Paige, you look that up for us while we're talking.
I would say $600
please, ma'am.
$500 to $1,000.
So we're talking about 180 hours of time, $500 to $1,000. That if you decide that you don't want to do it, that's the time and the money that you've lost. If you're going to, I don't know if you guys listen to or watch anything with Gary Vaynerchuk Media. He a lot talks about, you know, people will come up to him and they'll say, they may be 40 years old, and they say, man, I feel like I've wasted my life and I'm just getting started. And he's like, you're fine. Like people have a mindset shift sometimes at the age of 60 or 70, and then they go out and kill it. Like you're 40 or you're 20 or you're 25. Make the mistakes now. It's fine. Mistakes are where you learn the most. And if you decide that you don't want to do that anymore, that's also fine.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people that try a lot of different things before you figure out what you love to do. I tell people, they're like, well, I really want to use my college degree. Does that matter? Is that what you like to do?
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of people that you don't use their college degree every day.
Yeah. I mean, I went to I went to a 4-year school, or I got a 4-year degree, whatever, and it's in business, but I don't really use most of that stuff. The biggest thing that I learned from the 4-year degree was basically how to be disciplined enough to finish strong.
Right.
I mean, that's discipline and being committed. Paige, I think you got a number. Okay, $1,000 to $2,000 to get that real estate license. All right, I think we should end there, and on the next episode, we'll jump into some more details about why or why not become a realtor and what it takes to become a realtor. How's that sound?
Works for me.
All right, y'all jump back in. If you're interested in being a realtor, we're going to keep going over these details and these little nuggets so that you guys can make a better and more informed decision. We're sitting with a realtor who's been doing it. It's been real successful. Thanks for joining us today. Remember to love God, love others, and let your work reflect that. We'll catch you on the next one.